Welcome to the Victory Club, the show for the everyday athlete who's not chasing medals, but chasing a better life. I'm Rebecca Trulette, a sports and pelvic floor physical therapist, mom, and weekend warrior with a passion for helping you move better, feel stronger, and stay in the game, whatever your game looks like. Each episode, we dive into real-world, no-fluff advice and personal stories on training smart, staying injury-free, and building habits that actually last. Whether you're hitting the gym, the trails, or just trying to keep up with life, this is your space to learn, grow, and win your own kind of victory. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the first episode of the Victory Club podcast. My name's Jeremy, and I am joined here with the owner, operator, whatever hat you want to put on, marketing professional, fitness guru, Rebecca.
Okay, come on now. You're making me sound a little too much right now.
So how are you feeling? This is the first episode. We just sat down. Took about 30 minutes to set all this up. How are you feeling?
Yeah. I never said that technology was my strong suit. So I'm hoping that this is actually even recording right now. I guess we'll find out in a bit.
As we get into this first episode, let's kind of, let's take a step back and let's talk about you personally first before we dive into maybe business, Becca. Her voice may change a little bit too as we go through this, but what I want to know, maybe what the other people want to know, is 3 random questions. I want to know your favorite color, your favorite vacation spot, and your favorite savory snack and or cheat meal.
Whoa, okay. We're just coming out with the big guns. All right, so a little bit about me, fun stuff first. My favorite color is green. It is a very popular color. I think a lot of that came from growing up. I think one of the big pinpoints, color. If anybody grew up in the era of Luigi and Mario, you know Mario is like the number one character, right? Everybody wanted to be Mario. My siblings convinced me that green was a really cool color and that I should play Luigi. And that's kind of like, I guess, where the foundation of green being my thing started from. So always getting convinced to be a second player with that. But yeah, green. Vacation spot. Ooh, such a tough one. We've traveled all over. I think maybe Montana when we went to Glacier. Like that was beautiful, right?
That was a good one.
That was probably one of my favorite. I don't think I've ever seen water that clear before.
You can't stop talking. You gotta keep
going.
Well, the last question was a favorite savory snack or cheat meal.
I was trying to remember. You asked me so many so quickly. Oh my gosh, savory snack or cheat meal. I don't know. Like I'm a sucker for some pizza, right? Pizza and ice cream on like a Friday night. Like that's a cheat meal that I'll take any week for sure. But okay, you've literally just asked me all these questions. I want to know, or our viewers want to know a little bit more about you. Are the second host, the man that you probably have not seen much of if you follow me on Instagram. But this is Jeremy, my better half, partner in crime. Tell us, I know you are a big movie guy. Tell us what your favorite movie is.
Ooh, that's a tough question. I don't really have, let's say, per se, favorite movie. I like maybe actors, directors. Big fan of Christopher Nolan movies. He directed all the Batman movies.
Okay,
The Prestige.
yeah.
That's one of your favorite ones.
Oh, yeah, that is a good one. Yeah.
So I'm more of a just a fan of people's work, I guess. So Christopher Nolan's probably high up. Oppenheimer, you've never seen it, you never will.
I think that's a little too long for me.
But anyway, so we're going to get back on track here. We're talking about the Victory Club here. Talking about you personally, me
That's
personally.
That's right.
So what what people, I say people, this is going to be like a weird thing. This is our first ever podcast, so bear with us here. But let's hop into you professionally. Who are you? You know, we want to know, we're going to get into it a little later of why Victory, but I think first off, we want to know you personally. We have you personally, now professionally.
All right.
Who is Rebecca?
All you people out there. So I am, by, I guess, academics or clinical designation, I am a sports physical therapist. I have been practicing for 8.5 years, graduated from LSU Health in New Orleans, and have really just kind of flourished from that point on to want to know anything and everything about sports physical therapy, orthopedics. I am a certified strength and conditioning coach, CrossFit level 1 trainer, and have recently undergone some more advanced training to become a pelvic floor physical therapist. I also dabble in youth performance coaching, event coverage. You've been with me for those. I mean, how many tactical games, the CrossFit games, races I've covered. I really just want to help athletes get back into the game or learn how to get into the game if that's something that's brand new for them, but do that from a perspective that's safe, that usually has very low risk of injury, helps them, learn their body and move well from that standpoint.
And you seem pretty passionate about it, but where did that come from?
Oh, I think a lot of that just came from this desire to want to help people. And I know that is like this blanket term that people use when they're talking and they're in healthcare, like, I got into this because I want to help people. But truthfully, that aspect of volunteering has a special place in my heart. And some of that, I'll be totally honest with you, I think it comes kind of from a small place of wanting to feel needed. Wanting to feel special, knowing that I have a skill set or I have something that can help other people and make them feel good, make them feel confident. That feeling there's truly, to me, no better feeling than helping someone, especially in the field that I'm in, someone that's in pain, someone that's in distress. Maybe they have lost hope, about ever moving a certain way again or ever being able to participate in a certain activity, and that is such a special feeling that I truly get. Yeah.
Well, I think that it explains it, where you want to be and what is the next step of taking that passions and taking that drive. So really, the Victory Club, I think, was kind of born out of that. So I would imagine, that was a big deciding factor on wanting to take that next step and kind of, do your own thing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you remember, COVID year, right? And I mean, everybody remembers COVID year. Things in life just kind of got a different perspective. You came out of that thinking about life differently, thinking about your time and your value. And it's just, life seemed different. I don't know if that's a good way to put it. I mean, what do you think?
It did. I think it changed up a lot for us personally, us professionally. Businesses out there didn't really know what was going on. It was a lot of change of like, hey, this could turn around pretty quickly for everybody. And then really, as we navigated through it, kind of Victory was born. I go ahead and in discussion, of why the Victory name, how a Victory was born. I'll let you explain it. What's the full business name to Victory?
Yeah, definitely. I think kind of, bouncing off of that, what I was leading to is just the fact that I started realizing that I wanted something more, something different. And I think looking at life from that way, coming into that post-COVID lifestyle, that was the year I turned 30. So in 2022, I decided to, create the practice and started with Victory. And and it kind of was born legitimately right down the hall. We're filming this in our office at our house, and I started treating people it's now Delilah's room, down the hall, and just wanting to give care to people that wanted a more flexible schedule, that were looking for certain interventions. And I just thought, hey, I can do this. And this is something fun. I really enjoy this. It kind of reignited my spark for therapy and for being a physical therapist. And I decided that, like, hey, I probably need to make this thing official. And that is where Victory came from. And I started thinking about, like, what am I going to call this thing? Right? I have this new idea, and I need to name it, need to make it official, but I want a name that I feel like people are going to resonate with. That's important, right? Mm-hmm. And so I originally, the first name that I came up with was actually not even Victory. It was Finish Line. And I really love this idea, coming from a background in sports and orthopedics and being, what I would consider myself a little bit of a weekend warrior. I was like, man, I want a name that sounds powerful. Like, it sounds like something that people, they want to get to, and I want to be part of this because I'm going to, get to the finish line. And the more I started thinking about that concept, I even drew up like little graphics. I remember sending them over to Kara and Kendall and, my go-to girls. And I'm like, hey, what do y'all think about this? What's the design look like? And they gave me some feedback, and I was getting all excited. But then I started thinking, like, I don't know if Finish Line is the right name.
I think there's a clothing brand called Finish Line as well. So you might have been.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Dodged a bullet there.
Yeah, it might have been a little awkward trying to put that on there, but
yeah, So I was really thinking, I was like, but why doesn't this speak to me? And I think the reason was because the finish line had like a definitive end. And it's symbolized and signaled like getting to a point and then being done. And I don't think that is the right message and the right brand for what Victory is. Simply because I think we're always growing and evolving. Me, I'm on one race to the next, one hobby to the next. Like, there's never a quote unquote finish line. And if I get to one place and I feel like I've achieved something, then I want to achieve something more, something different. And so I wanted a name that really resonated with the concept of ever evolving success for yourself, for pushing yourself to a place that always, helped you strive for something more. And I think that's where the concept of Victory came from.
And you get to celebrate in that, it's not just about crossing the finish line, it's more about, continuing to celebrate those wins of whatever finish line it is, whether it's professionally, personally, mentally, you're crossing the finish line. Sure, that's a part of being Victory, but then you get to be celebrated in those parts
like
of being
the journey,
victorious at.
The journey of it all. And I think that speaks to every facet of my practice, right? Because, obviously one of the things that's like really close to my heart right now is pelvic floor physical therapy, postpartum life. For us as new parents, like, that's something we're navigating. And what I'm also realizing is, like, postpartum is forever. There's no finish line to this.
And I think in kind of our own daily lives, I feel like I've been saying it a lot more. You just got to focus on the small victories that you can have throughout the day. You can't figure out all the problems of the world or the problems that are focused on you, right now, the bigger problems. It's, hey, let's get some small victories, and those turn into big victories. And I think that's a lot of what the concepts of what you're trying to cover, with the weekend warriors that are out there and wanting to either progress or get back to the point of before they had some sort of setback.
Yeah.
I think you're trying to create those small victories to create the big victory in the end.
Yeah. What did they say? 1% better every day.
I think you're right. Yeah.
It's tackling those small things that build and then grow. And that's also a part of physical therapy, right? There's beauty in simplicity and consistency, right? Like, in order for us to build and grow, we need to be consistent with something. We need to start small and kind of grow from there. And that's how we build to this, victorious lifestyle. And so I think.
So what are some of the small victories you've had so far in this journey? What are some of, quick pain points that you're currently working on kind of in a day-to-day as you start to build this thing that is Victory Fitness and physical therapy?
Good question. I think some of the small victories, honestly, have really been, for me, finding a supportive team and environment to start to grow my practice in. And so a lot of you know that my home base, I like to call it, is out of North Shore Fit, which is, I call it Hammond's premier functional fitness facility, right? We have top of the line programming and coaches, state-of-the-art equipment. So a small victory for me was really having the opportunity to start to grow in this space, because the community there has been nothing but supportive. The coaching staff, the owner, they've given me a lot of opportunities to really showcase physical therapy in a different light, from a preventative aspect, a programming aspect, and just integrate that into our practice. So I'd say that's been one of the initial small victories that have turned into a very large victory for me. I think another victory that I really like to look at is the fact that I can be very virtual, or accessible, if you will. I recently had a client that was training for a half marathon, and she was out in Tennessee, and being able to access her and give her resources, through the virtual component, and then to see and hear how she hasn't had pain through her training. And actually her race was yesterday, and I heard it went awesome. Beautiful scenery in the Smoky Mountains. And to me, that was just an exciting opportunity to be able to provide care to someone that's states away, and see how that positively impacted her training and her life, and gave her this opportunity to do something with her family and to honor one of her family members in that process. And so that's huge, but small at the same time victories,
I think that's what it's all about. I think that's the message that comes across. Now, this is episode 1. I don't know how you want to wrap this thing up, whether you feel that this has been a good episode, a good recording. I'm sure you're going to listen back to it probably and dissect it, but that's okay. That's why we're here. We're here to learn. We're here to, kind of a behind the curtain. We've put this off probably for 4 or 5 days now, for whatever reason it may be, whether we come home and we're just kind of mentally or physically exhausted, or last night our child decided to take yesterday took a 4-hour nap, and then didn't go to bed until 7:30, 8 o'clock, and by that time we were ready to call it a night. But that's okay. That's we're here now. She's napping now, so this gives a perfect opportunity for mom and dad to sneak away and record this. So anything you want to leave and kind of cap off this episode? Where can people find you? Website. Some exciting things coming up as we move forward with this whole podcasting, this whole business. What's some things people can get excited about?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just I'm excited to be here to finally get to have a platform where I can share some of my thoughts and philosophies behind practice, behind fitness, wellness, all of those things as a whole. I think being able to showcase physical therapy and the things that we can bring to people to help enhance their life is really just honestly my biggest message and my reason for being here and having this platform. I want to be able to provide education and resources and information to people in formats that are digestible, easily accessible, and fits well with their lifestyle. I mean, just like you said, it took us 4 days to finally record this, but we've been talking about doing a podcast for over a year. And we finally just said, you know what? It's not going to be perfect, but let's just do it, right? Because if we never try, it definitely won't be perfect, but we're never going to be able to put that information out there. And as you can tell, like I love talking about physical therapy. I love being able to educate patients and being able to just provide these resources to people. And so I think this is really the place for us to get to do that. And I'm excited over this series to be able to also share information with other partners that I practice with, everything from nutrition, meal prep, massage therapy, performance training and programming, to really just give this holistic approach to fitness and wellness, and wanting to be that go-to person kind of at the helm of when you're looking at your active lifestyle, where you want to go and where you want to get that information from. I'm hoping that Victory becomes a place for you to get that information. Thanks for joining us today. If you want to learn more about working with Victory, whether it's through personalized physical therapy programs, group therapeutic exercise classes, performance training, or recovery and maintenance programs, follow us on Instagram at Rebecca Trulette PT and at Welcome to the Victory Club, or check us out online at www.movewithvictory.com.